Gunn himself hyped the show up relentlessly, constantly banging on about how important it was to DC's future and all this.
Wow, it's almost like he wants to do well. Like, no fucking shit. Like, you do realize that's part of his job right now. He's in charge of the DCU. His job is to go through and hype up the DCU stuff. Like, you are aware of that, right?
Stuff that it was gonna set up.
Like, what do you expect? He's in charge of the DCU, and he's gonna be like, oh, here's our new project. Dude, it kind of sucks. I don't know why I'm even releasing it. It kind of sucks ass. I don't know if you really shouldn't even release it. Did you expect him to fucking say that? All the books this stream were good, though. These are all bangers. Good stream for comic books, guys. Fuck yeah. These were awesome. I dug all these. But you know what? Not everything can be good, because we got some chuds to go over. It looks like let's see. Guess we'll go ahead and wrap up the poll. It looks like Critical Drinker has a solid lead at this point, so I guess we'll do some Critical Drinker. I've never watched Critical Drinker before. I wonder what he's like. Let's see what our good friend Will Jordan has been up to. All right. Oh, of course he covered Chris Stuckman's movie, House of Dynamite, Frankenstein. I haven't seen it. Disney killed the Kylo Ren movie, and that's a good thing? Crash and Burn, the Taika Waititi story. James Gunn DCU is falling apart. God damn. Any suggestions? He talked crass about Peacemaker and the state of DC. Yeah, I know that's the one that's kind of appealing to me. We could do that one if you guys. I know lots of people. I think Birdman and Eric have already covered it, which means I've probably seen parts of this. I mean, if you guys want, I'll give my input on that one. But what else? We also have Disney kills the Kylo Ren movie. I don't even know how much I care about the Taika Waititi story. I mean, I thought Ragnarok. I am vaguely interested to see what he says in that one, because I thought Ragnarok was fantastic. Although he decided to re-review it on that one video. So Shelby Oaks. Well, I've seen the reviews of it have not been amazing, but they're a hell of a lot better than Rogue Elements. Just saying. Let's see. Do you guys have a preference? So right now I'm looking at the Disney Kylo Ren movie, or the Taika Waititi story, or James Gunn DCU. Those seem like the contenders for me. James Gunn DCU. I just said I'll probably go with the first person, so I guess that's it. So we're doing James Gunn DCU is falling apart. Let's dive into this shit burger.
The thing about first impressions is that you only ever get to make one, and never is that more true than the world of big budget filmmaking. It seems like only yesterday that James Gunn was being hailed as the saviour of DC on film, taking over a struggling franchise that had failed to launch as a dark and edgy Marvel alternative under Zack Snyder,
As much as I am not a fan of what Snyder was doing, I don't know if I would say it failed to launch. It kind of it launched okay. It didn't launch amazingly. It launched okay, but kind of the direction it went after launch just kind of threw it insane. Like if you want, like we were talking about on stream, you want to talk about franchises that failed to launch. We're looking at like shit like Tom Cruise's Mummy movie, where they had the huge we had people fucking cast for like 3 movies out at least, and that went fucking nowhere.
to reorganize itself under a trio of girl bosses when that fad came and went like a fart in the wind.
What? Reorganize itself under a trio of girl bosses. And its examples are. Hold on.
Under Zack Snyder, failed to reorganize itself under a
So Wonder Woman,
trio of girl bosses when that fad came and went like a
Harley Quinn, Supergirl, and Batgirl. So I don't know if you can count Critical Drinker, but that's four. That's four girl bosses. Wonder Woman, who is one of the most recognizable his superheroes, period. Like everybody knows who fucking Wonder Woman is. One of the most popular superheroes in existence, no question. Batgirl never came out. Supergirl was a supporting character in the Flash movie. And Harley Quinn? Like, are you talking about how Birds of Prey wasn't particularly successful? Because, yeah, that movie came out shortly before the pandemic shut down the theaters. So we don't, like, it wasn't like lighting the world on fire, but like, we don't know what its real numbers would have been if the pandemic hadn't shut down movies. And also, I am still one of those people. I will defend Birds of Prey. It's not perfect. It's got issues. But you know what? At the end of the day, I thought it was a pretty entertaining movie. And when I sat down and analyzed it for my verses, I was like, you know what? Deadpool's definitely better. But this is a solid fucking movie. And I don't remotely see how DC tried to organize under any of these characters at all. At all. So, like, citation?
fart in the wind, and even failed as The Rock's own personal vanity.
That was kind of hilarious how The Rock was like, we are reinventing the DCEU and shit like that.
I want you guys to help me out with something. It's something that's pretty important. I need you guys to help me get a message out to some of the other ones. Some of the other DC superheroes. Let's let Flash, Shazam, Aquaman, Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman. Let's let them know something. Things will never be the same because the hierarchy of power in the DC universe is about to change.
Yeah. The Rock, the thing about The Rock is like, he's never been a massive box office draw. Like, he's a draw to a degree, but it's never been massive. So I think banking on his star power to bring in a lot of money was a bad call. Plus, probably should have had a better movie behind it too. Like, Black Adam's not the worst movie ever, but it is so just mid. Like, it has good elements and bad elements. And honestly, Black Adam was like a mid element in it. Like, probably the best element in it was probably Dr. Fate. But you know, lots of this stuff. There's a nuanced discussion to have about all this. But yes, girl bosses and apparently boy bosses failed the DCU. Or DCEU, I should say.
Project, pretty much signaling the end of his decade of box office domination.
Well, like I just said, like, it's box office domination for The Rock. I don't know if I would necessarily say he had box office domination. What, like, sure, he had the Fast and Furious movies, but like, he came on in movie 5, and those were already big movies. So, what?
But
Jesus Christ, bro. Learn how to sync your, or normalize your audio a bit better. That was a bit much.
Savior had arrived in the form of James Gunn, the visionary director of Guardians of the Galaxy, and
you know, this, the reason I paused it because I knew where he was going with this, because it's like, they act like James Gunn has only directed Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, he had never directed anything, and Marvel gave him a shot and gave him Guardians of the Galaxy. Dude had a pretty big resume under his belt before Guardians of the Galaxy. You know, he worked with Trauma. He did movies like Slither, which is, honestly, if you want just a fun, like, horror B movie, fucking Slither is a lot of fun. That one stars Nathan Fillion. That's just a fun movie. If you want something that's not nearly as much fun, there's Super, which is kind of his first foray into superhero movies, but that's a dark one. Holy shit. Super is like Slither is fun and Super is decidedly not fun. I'm sure it definitely has fun moments, but eh. And then yeah, I mean, he has plenty of movies under his belt. So acting like he just does Guardians of the Galaxy, really fucking dishonest.
Other stuff. Sure, he might have dismissed arguably the most popular actor to play Superman since Christopher Reeve,
The most popular actor to play Superman since Christopher Reeve. Well, that might just be because he's the only other feature film actor to play him since Christopher Reeve. I mean, there's been plenty of Superman actors since Christopher Reeve. Hell, we even got Tyler Hoechlin playing him after Henry Cavill.
literally weeks after he announced he was returning to the role. Sure, he can't.
Well, yeah, if he was a huge draw of Superman, then the tease of Black Adam 2, where they have him in the post-credit scene of Black Adam, would have been more of a draw. And the fact is, like, that was kind of an experiment, and it failed. And they went, fuck it. I mean, the DCEU, especially in its later years, was kind of a clusterfuck. But we haven't even gotten to James Gunn shit. So, what's your point?
Cancelled every upcoming project except anything that starred his wife, and made sure to give his brother a major role that he totally didn't deserve.
Well, actually, Sean Gunn's done a decent job, but directors have this group of people they usually work with, just because they know their capabilities and they know that they'll do the job. That's unbelievably common. I mean, fuck, how often? Like Martin Scorsese's arguably one of the greatest living directors we have right now. How many times has he worked with fucking Robert De Niro at this point? Like, holy crap. Yeah, directors have people they prefer to work with. And anything starting, I'm trying to remember, was Jennifer Holland in the Superman movie? Maybe she was one of the robots or something? If she was, it wasn't like a major role. So, I mean, that immediately debunks that. Just saying.
And sure, he was arguably a one-trick pony who tried to make every movie into Guardians of the Galaxy, but
well, I mean, the first DC movie he did was The Suicide Squad. I mean, I guess you could argue there's some Guardians-ish elements there, but I wouldn't say it's like Guardians of the Galaxy just because group of misfits fight a villain. Like, there's lots of different ways to do that fucking story. Plus, most everything he did before Guardians of the Galaxy wasn't like Guardians of the Galaxy, so not a one-trick pony. No.
just don't think about it too much.
I mean, this is released well after Superman came out, and Superman's not like Guardians of the Galaxy. So maybe judge the movie for what it is and not judge it just because, in your opinion, James Gunn can only do Guardians of the Galaxy, which, by the way, Superman wasn't like Guardians of the Galaxy at all.
Just keep telling yourself that James Gunn's amazing and everything's gonna somehow work out fine.
As someone who has serious criticisms of Peacemaker 2, I don't know if I would necessarily say that. I would say I feel much more comfortable with the universe under someone like James Gunn than fucking Zack Snyder, because I feel like James Gunn has a good handle on the characters, whereas Zack Snyder didn't. Do you want to talk about that at all?
You sure about that? You sure about that?
Oh yeah, Anthony Gramuglia just did a video on Tim Burton talking about how he fucking cast Johnny Depp. And at first, Johnny Depp was great. Edward Scissorhands, he does a great job. My favorite Tim Burton movie is still Ed Wood, and Johnny Depp's fantastic in that. He's a talented actor. But you get to later shit with Johnny Depp and Tim Burton, and it is just terrible. Like, God, I remember watching Dark Shadows. I don't remember a goddamn thing about it, but I remember watching that movie. It sucked. Ugh.
But it turns out that everything didn't work out fine. The James Gunn honeymoon period is well and truly over now.
Really? Because Superman, while not like the biggest success ever, was a solidly successful movie. So, what's your point?
Enthusiasm has died down, and after one underwhelming movie and two
Underwhelming movie. In what way was it underwhelming? Do you mean financially? Because financially, it made a profit, and they already greenlit a sequel, so it must be doing well enough. Are you talking about your own critique of it? Because I thought it was a fantastic movie. You're welcome to dislike it, but that's just like your opinion, man, as the dude would say, and the dude abides.
disappointing TV shows, the whole world seems to be coming to the same realization. This whole James Gunn thing probably wasn't a good idea, was it?
Based on one very good movie? Therefore, franchise fail? I mean, I don't know if I'd quite say Peacemaker Season 2 was bad. I was seriously underwhelmed by it. But I thought Superman was great. Shit, man. We're one movie in, and all of a sudden you're saying, "Oh yeah, he's a failure." The fuck are you talking about? Shit. One successful movie in. It's not even like it flopped. If it flopped, he might have a case. But it was successful. So the fuck is your point?
An article in Forbes a couple of days ago painted a grim picture of Superman's box office performance. With a total haul of 615 million worldwide, the movie cleared just over 300 million after all the distributor fees were paid, nowhere near the 350 million needed to cover production and marketing costs.
Production and marketing costs. I believe Birdman and Eric already went over all this, and all these reported numbers were just based on estimates from Variety. So it's like, it doesn't really mean anything. Plus, like, how well has it done on streaming? How well did it do in digital sales? I'm pretty sure, like, for a while after it came out on HBO Max, it was #1. It might still be the #1 movie on HBO Max. How many new subscribers is HBO Max getting just because people want to check out the Superman movie? Like, listen, no matter what, even if we go with these numbers and say, oh, it just in the theatrical run didn't quite make enough to break even. Well, now that it's been on streaming, now that it's making money off streaming, surely it's broken even and made money now. So, successful movie. Hell, the first Hellboy did not do well in theaters. But once it got to home video, it did really well, and that's why Hellboy 2 was cleared. It is possible for this stuff to have a second life after, even if it underwhelms in the theater, which, by the way, Superman didn't even underwhelm in the theater. Last time we saw, James Gunn confirmed that it was making a profit in the theater. And boy, oh boy, the investors behind that movie would sue the shit out of him if he was publicly lying like that. And I haven't heard any lawsuits, so let's assume he's not lying.
This, dear viewer, is what we call a flop.
No, it's not. Not remotely, bro. Like, this is completely, like, I don't know how people watch this. Like, this is just lying at this point. Okay, guys, I'm going to call it a flop and call it a day. I have a 2 million audience. Your audience is smaller. Therefore, my audience will silence yours. Therefore, flop. Despite the fact that clear evidence shows it's not a flop. Why the fuck would Warner Brothers already greenlight a sequel if it was a fucking flop? That's so stupid.
Oh, shit!
Like, is your argument that Warner Brothers just loves to lose money? David Zaslav, the CEO of Warner Brothers, known to literally shelve movies forever just to make a buck. Do you think he would greenlight a flop? Do you think he would greenlight a sequel to a flop? Because I guarantee you he would not. Jesus Christ, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. No, this isn't the dumbest thing I've ever seen because I watch Chuds regularly, but this is astronomically dumb, and we're only 2 minutes in. Congratulations, Critical Drinker. You're working hard to make the dumbest videos a person can make with over 1 million subscribers. Of course, I don't know. I'm sure there's lots of huge subscribers with tons of bad videos, but congratulations, Critical Drinker. You're one of them.
And keep in mind, Forbes is a pretty
It's true. I already mentioned Big Lebowski. That was a flop. Shawshank Redemption flopped. The Thing. John Carpenter's The Thing flopped in theaters. And that's the thing. Those are movies that actually fucking flopped, but then found life later. Superman isn't even one of those. Superman was a success in theaters.
well-established industry publication with a long history of painting the most optimistic picture possible for
No. Listen. So a lot of these outlets, like a lot of news outlets, are kind of like the grifters in that they will look for the outrage angle whenever they can. The difference being, if they lie, they will get sued. So they look for the outrage, but they gotta walk that tightrope because they don't want to get sued. Fuck, maybe people like Critical Drinker need to start getting sued. I don't even know. Like, just blatant lying. It's not even like if misinformation is one thing, because misinformation is just saying shit that's wrong, but not really intent. What this guy does is clearly disinformation at this point. He knows he's full of it, but he's got to sell outrage to his audience. There's got to be some way to deal with that. It's ridiculous.
big studio movies. If even they're admitting that Superman was a failure, you know it must be fucking bad.
Really? Really? Again, as I already brought up, David Zaslav, the guy who will do anything to earn an extra buck in short-term returns, already cool with greenlighting a sequel to this movie that's a flop. That is the argument you're making. The dumbest fucking argument ever, by the way.
And this isn't just any old failure either. This isn't some obscure character from a limited run comic that we're talking about here. It's Superman, arguably the single most iconic superhero of all time.
Most iconic well, I don't know where you're pulling. I mean, like when you throw in arguably, I guess you're not technically wrong because it's arguable. But if you want to be talking the most popular superhero of all time, that is Spider-Man. It's not even close. Spider-Man is by far the most popular superhero of all time. But you know what? Let's go ahead and restrict that down to DC, because Superman is also not the most successful superhero for DC. Batman is. And again, that's not even fucking close. Batman is more successful by far than Superman. Just saying. Yes, is Superman an iconic hero? Is Superman instantly recognizable to most everybody in the world? Yes, absolutely. He's not the biggest superhero, that's Spider-Man. He's not the biggest DC superhero, that's Batman. It seems like he's trying to set up like Superman's their biggest card, and it's like, nope. He's one of the big three, I'll give you that. Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman. But he's not the biggest of the three.
If you can't even make him work on screen, then what chance have you got with anyone else?
Well, he did make him work on screen. You may not like the movie, but overall, many people did. We can pull up the aggregate if you want. Let me go ahead and let's look at that real fast. Well, would you look at that? So, Superman got an 83% from critics. So, 83% of critics on Rotten Tomatoes gave you a positive review. 90% on the fan score, verified fan score. So, that's fans who submitted ticket subs. So, people who have definitely seen it, gave it a 90%. 90% of those are good reviews. Like I said, it's an aggregate. You don't have to like agree with this at all. But this is just in general what people are saying about the movie. People are liking the movie. Plus, it has already been greenlit for a sequel from the most money-hungry studio head there is right now. I don't think any of them are more money hungry than David Zaslav. He just sees dollars. He already greenlit his fucking sequel to this. So no, this is not a failure at any of the metrics you're talking about. You don't have to like the movie. Everybody's got different opinions. According to this, 17% of critics on Rotten Tomatoes did not like the movie, and 90% of people who went to the theater did not like the movie. And that is fine. But pretending like that's the norm is just false.
Things aren't much better on the TV side of things either. Creature Commandos, which was actually Gunn's first entry in the DCU, was pretty much ignored and mostly irrelevant because really, who the fuck cares about an animated TV show about a bunch of characters nobody...
Well, I mean, I probably want to catch up, but no, I have not seen Creature Commandos. Probably when season 2 comes out, I'll add to the podcast, but, not that I'm disinterested, but, I haven't seen it, but, yeah, it was just an animated series on HBO Max, bro.
He's ever heard of that's only loosely connected to the new shared universe. Peacemaker season 2 was Gunn's...
I mean, it does have Rick Flag Sr., so I don't know if it necessarily say it's loosely connected.
big passion project, probably...
Is Peacemaker his big passion project? I mean, I assume he enjoys making it, but I don't know if I'd call it a passion project per se.
Because it stars his own wife, who just mysteriously keeps getting cast in James Gunn projects.
Yes. Yes. Because that happens a lot. I already brought up directors like to work with people they already know. You seem to be criticizing her a lot for being his wife. She does a good job in the show. So, like, what's your point? Like, if she was getting cast in this stuff and sucked balls, then you'd have an argument. But like, she does a fine job. So what's the issue?
Oh my goodness, it must be a complete coincidence. Gunn himself hyped the show up relentlessly, constantly banging on about how important it was to DC's future and all this.
Wow, it's almost like he wants to do well. Like, no fucking shit. Like, you do realize that's part of his job right now. He's in charge of the DCU. His job is to go through and hype up the DCU stuff. Like, you are aware of that, right?
Stuff that it was gonna set up.
Like, what do you expect? He's in charge of the DCU, and he's gonna be like, oh, here's our new project. Dude, it kind of sucks. I don't know why I'm even releasing it. It kind of sucks ass. I don't know if you really shouldn't even release it. Did you expect him to fucking say that? Like, even if it does suck, he's not gonna say it sucks because that's not his fucking job. He'd be fired immediately. Fuck. Like, he's not a movie critic, bro.
Liar! Because truly, if there's one guy you can always rely on to tell it like it is, and never resort to hyperbole and cheap sales tactics to drum up interest in his work, it's James Gunn.
Well, number one, he is a salesman. And number two, I gotta rewind that a bit.
Set up. Liar! Because truly, if there's one guy you can always rely on to tell it like it is, and never resort to hyperbole and cheap sales tactics to drum up interest in his work, it's James Gunn.
Replace James Gunn with Critical Drinker at the end. And guess what, bro? That's an exact description of what you do. Except you also add in some bigotry, which is a nice touch.
Wrong. None of it made any difference, though. The show failed to even break into the Nielsen top 10. There was practically...
You do know, like, the streaming numbers are pretty much held by the streaming companies. And yeah, I would love if they were public, but they're not. They don't use the Nielsen top 10 because why the fuck would they? They have the exact numbers of how well these shows do. And Peacemaker, at least for a little while, was when season 2 was coming out, was the #1 show on HBO Max. So that's the #1 draw for them as far as TV shows. So I don't know how much more successful you want it to be. But yeah, I don't think anybody uses fucking Nielsen anymore because it only gives you a fraction of the picture, whereas they have the whole picture. So why would they use that?
No conversation about it online, and Gunn's decision to jam a bunch of modern day political lectures into the narrative with all the subtlety of a tactical nuclear
No, oh, bro. Are you calling a Hitler reference modern day politics? Fucking Hitler is modern day fucking hell, bro. You're showing. Your fucking white nationalism is fucking showing, bro. Jesus Christ, modern day. Dude, if betraying Hitler and Nazis as bad somehow offends you, that's a fucking self-report. Seek fucking help. Jesus Christ.
strike at a time when most people are getting pretty fucking tired of that crap only served to divide and
Well, the fact that you're still offended by it tells me that we need to do more of it. That's what that fucking tells me. Just saying.
already small fan base. The result? Well, after a strong premiere, interest in the show flatlined and never recovered, and a potential third season was axed before season 2 had even finished airing. There's just no
Yeah, there was it axed? Was it like, do we know for a fact there'll be no season 3? I know James Gunn has said he doesn't have plans for season 3, but he has plans to pick up with all of the characters at some other point. But like, I don't think we know definitively there's no season 3. It wasn't like axed behind his back. It was just his choice to continue it this way.
hiding it anymore. James Gunn's DCU is in deep trouble.
Based on what? A successful movie and 2 HBO series? Oh, it's in trouble, guys. 1 successful movie and 2 series. It's flopped. Better kill it. God, his speculation videos are the worst pieces of trash ever. Holy shit.
It's barely even started and already people seem to have lost interest in it. And it's not like the best is yet to come either. Next year's gonna give us 2 more movies, Supergirl and Clayface.
Yeah. Supergirl looks like fun. They kind of set that up in Superman. I'm interested to see what they do with it. That's gonna be the first project that like James Gunn's involved, but like not really. He's not writing or directing, so he's not one of the key figures. So we'll kind of see how that one goes. Clayface is such a wild card. So Clayface has always been one of my favorite Batman villains. I always wanted to see him in more as like a Batman villain in a movie, and actually seeing him in a standalone movie is kind of surprising. Which makes me think and actually hope that's really fucking good. Cause it like the fact that that's like the 3rd movie in the DCU is gonna be fucking Clayface. That's so wild. But you know what? Yeah, let's fucking bring it. I am very fucking intrigued. I did see news that Lanterns got delayed, which I'm not gonna lie, kind of doesn't surprise me. Because like James Gunn was cagey about seeing a preview for Lanterns, and it's like, wait, if it's coming out in like early next year, a preview should be coming out soon. And the fact they got cagey does kind of reinforce, oh, they're pushing it back. Okay.
Fuck.
Yeah, no offense guys, but if even Superman couldn't drum up audience interest, what chance do you think this drunken arsehole's gonna have? And
Okay, so you already brought up the beginning of this video was talking about the failures of the DCEU, and yeah, that franchise ended with a fucking whimper. And not even all the movies were bad. Yeah, Flash, not great. Blue Beetle was a solid movie. Both those bombed pretty solidly, but Blue Beetle was fucking solid. But yeah, it ended with a whimper. Because DC had become a damaged brand. People were like, "Oh, the DC movies are the ones that suck." So people weren't as interested in the DC movies anymore. So what he has to do is build up the interest. And so he started with Superman, a movie that made its money back in theaters. Yeah, if it didn't make its money back, then James Gunn is privately being sued. And I'm sure if any word got out that he was getting sued, you guys would be blasting it all over the place. You're not. So it tells me he's probably not being sued, which means he was not lying when he said it was successful. Plus, again, sequel's already greenlit. So hey. But I know I had an additional point to tag on.
Have. And I think maybe it's time to face reality with this one. Whatever it was going to take to get DC back on track after...
Oh, yes. So my whole point being, the point of Superman was to do something that would be a draw, but also rebuild goodwill. Say, hey, we're starting a new universe and rebuild that goodwill. And they had to start with something that was just solidly good. And I already shared with you the scores on Superman. It audience and critics overall liked it. Not everyone. You don't have to like it, but overall, on average, most did. So he's rebuilding goodwill, and that goodwill can help future movies. Now, I will say, Supergirl and Clayface, I'd be shocked if they outperform Superman. Absolutely shocked. That being said, I doubt they need to get anywhere close to as big as that one. I doubt they need to get anywhere near that much. Because, hey, those characters aren't going to be as big a draw, so, you're going to put a bit less money into it. Just saying. Oh, yeah, yeah. You're not wrong, Anton, because next year we get... I know next year we're going to have, I think it's a Brand New Day and Doomsday. So, like, Marvel is conceivably looking at $2 billion movies next year. Jesus Christ.
Years of mismanagement, James Gunn wasn't it. I know the loyalty
one successful movie, and you're saying he didn't, like, what? Were you expecting, like, his Superman movie after years of a damaged brand, his Superman movie to bring in, like, $4 billion or something? Like, what was the goalpost you were expecting it to hit? It was successful. That's pretty much all we know. And honestly, like, at the end of the day, why does it even matter? Like, if it's a good movie and you liked it, you should be supporting it. If it's a bad movie and you don't like it, well then, why are we even fucking talking about it? Let it go.
people feel towards that dude borders on religious fanaticism, but...
Okay, are there people who are overzealous James Gunn fans? Yes, absolutely. But, dude, like, have you seen the Zack Snyder fans about the DCEU? There's no fucking comparison, bro. The Snyder Bros are insane. Absolutely insane. Most part, James Gunn, like, I would consider myself a James Gunn fan. Like I said, I'm not even, I don't even necessarily love everything he's ever done. But overall, I enjoy his output.
Even the most die-hard James Gunn fan should be able to recognize the mistakes he's made.
I don't know if I'd call myself a diehard fan, but yes, I do recognize the mistakes he's made. Do you?
First big mistake was failing to make a clean break from the old DCEU. DC on film was a complete mess by the time he took over. Not only did it have a whole bunch of conflicting creative visions for the DC shared universe, with elements of the old Snyderverse still lingering on, aborted characters and discarded plot threads lying around everywhere, questions about whether Henry Cavill would return as Superman, no fewer than 3 different versions of Batman active at the same time, a Joker spin-off that was disconnected from everything else, a Batman solo movie with a sequel still in the works, Suicide Squad and the Peacemaker spin-off that were personal projects of Gunn's, and even a Snyder cut of Justice League.
Yes, I don't think anyone is arguing that the DCEU wasn't a mess. It was very, very messy. Good job pointing out the obvious.
What he really should have done was kill everything, let the franchise rest for a couple of years, and then do a hard reset.
Oh, fuck. That's the dumb... Dude, okay, so... I could understand, like, but that's not a James Gunn call. Like, that's a David Zaslav call. David Zaslav goes, you know, I think this DC stuff, I think it could be, you know, I think it's worth a lot of money, but let's let it rest for a couple years and we'll make a lot more money later if we let it rest. Something David Zaslav would never fucking say. But, you know, he's all about short-term returns. But yes, I do see the logic in letting it rest a few years. Here's the deal. That's not what James Gunn's going to do. Because James Gunn was literally hired to make DC movies. That's what he was hired to do. He wasn't hired, like, they aren't, like, you think they're going to hire James Gunn, and James Gunn's going to be like, yeah, I think we're going to let the DC universe rest for 5 years, and I'll start making movies. No! No! That's not what they hired him to do! God, could you imagine? You hire somebody, and he says, yeah, let's let it rest for 5 years. I'll start in 5 years. Like, the fuck are you thinking? No, that's not. So, well, I get his argument. That's a critique of David Zaslav, not James fucking Gunn, who was hired to do a job, and he's doing his job, okay? God, fucking stupid.
Starting over with a completely blank slate. Instead, he went for a confusing and convoluted halfway house solution, axing most of the old DCEU but still carrying Suicide Squad and Peacemaker over into the new continuity. Isn't it?
Well, yeah, that's, number one, that's kind of the fun of comic books, especially since they just did Flashpoint. After Flashpoint, you kind of do almost whatever you want with the universe. You kind of can. Oh, you know, I want this, but I don't want that. I want this, I don't want that. If need be, you can do a little bit of rewriting. I mean, he kind of did. Like, the ending of Peacemaker Season 1, and then the previously on Peacemaker at the beginning of Season 2, there's little fun differences that they threw in there. And you can still watch the original Season 1 ending, or you can watch the beginning of Season 2 and see the before on Peacemaker stuff, which is kind of fun.
Isn't it funny how people in projects that are personally connected to James Gunn always seem to make the cuts?
Yes. Because that's the stuff he knows, and the fuck, why would he cut his own movies? Why the fuck would he do that? Like, do you even think before you say this stuff? This is some dumb fucking shit you're saying. Like, God, this is fucking stupid.
He also kept the Matt Reeves Batman and the Todd Phillips Joker movies in their own separate continuities, with
yes, yeah, because he's talked about wanting to do some Elseworld stuff. I think, listen, I really like, if you cut a half hour from Matt Reeves' Batman movie, I think it's pretty close to a perfect Batman movie. Like I said, it's overlong, but like, I think it's a great fucking movie outside of that. Like, that's my only real critique of it. I think it's pretty fantastic. I think the only issue with that is having another Batman concurrent with that that's kind of a similar Batman. Way too similar. I think that there is an issue with that. So there is an argument, maybe let DCU Batman rest until Matt Reeves gets his trilogy out, or however movies he wants to make. The other option is try to fold that Batman into the DCU, which I know lots of people have said, oh, the universes are too different. I don't know. I don't know if I quite subscribe to that, but if they want to keep them separate, they can. I think Matt Reeves did a good job with Batman. I want to see what he does with him. And Penguin was an excellent series as well. And as for Todd Phillips' Joker, I like the first Joker movie, but I do think it's super overrated. And man, that sequel was a shit show. Oh my God. But again, yeah, he's been hired to reboot the DC universe, and we already have other projects going on. Like, there's only so much he can do. He can't let it rest for 5 years, because that's not what he was fucking hired to do, bro.
Plans to introduce his own version of Batman and Joker into the DCU.
Son of...
Well, dude, I think it's safe to assume the Joker movies are over. So I think we're safe on Joker. I think Batman's the only question mark on that one. We'll have to see how he pulls it off. But like, I think a good idea is maybe try to let Batman rest for as long as you can. Focus, like, we got Supergirl and Clayface coming out. We can get another Trinity member out before even worrying about Batman. That'd be Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman's like literally one of my favorite characters, so I'd love to see what he chooses, what he does with Wonder Woman, who he chooses to direct that and shit. That could be fantastic.
Excellent stuff, James.
That is true. I guess the other approach could be go silly. I don't know if I want him to do a silly Batman for the DCU, but that is an option. He could go for that. That would be very different from the Matt Reeves take.
That's not going to be confusing for general audiences at all. The point is,
well, we're not even there yet. We gotta see how he handles it. I think there is an argument that could be confusing, but again, we gotta cross that bridge when we get to it, bro.
That instead of the hard reset that was desperately needed, all we really got was just another rushed, poorly thought out course change from a studio that was too timid to make hard decisions, too impatient to wait, and too stupid to know what to do with its own IPs. No wonder.
I mean, they said they were going to let James Gunn reboot it, and he's rebooting it. So, and they've kept on that for a couple years now. So, I mean, if they decide to fire him and course change again, you have an art. Well, that's the thing. So, like, he's criticizing them for doing course changes. But if they do what he's suggesting and essentially say, "Oh, James Gunn's a failure, let's course change," then they're just doing the same shit you're already criticizing him for. The way they avoid this criticism that I think is fairly valid that you're throwing at them, that they're course changing too often, is to keep James Gunn's plan in place. Just saying.
Our audiences weren't buying into it. There's no reason to believe this version's even going to be around in a few years, so what's the point in getting invested in it? His second big mistake was inserting his own creative sensibilities into every project. James Gunn
what do you mean?
Definitely has talents as a writer and director, but the problem is those talents are focused in a very narrow range, and instead of hiring other people who might be better suited to a project, he instead tries to make everything work his way.
We haven't even seen... Dude. So, like, I haven't seen Creature Commandos. I don't know how much James Gunn's involved with that. Yes, he is showrunner for Peacemaker, and he wrote and directed Superman. But that's it. Like, next year, we have 2 movies and Lanterns that are not written or directed by James Gunn. Like, it makes sense for him to do... Honestly, Superman makes a lot of sense for him to just kind of get things off the ground and get, kind of set the stage. And now it seems like he's letting other people do it, and we have to see how it's handled. Like, you do understand there's stuff in the pipeline that's been announced that's not written or directed by him. Like, God, this is so fucking stupid. I swear to God.
Watch any James Gunn movie or TV show and you've pretty much seen them all because...
Really? So every single movie he's ever made is like Super. Every single movie he's ever made is like Slither. Hell, not even every single movie he's made is like Guardians of the fucking Galaxy. Neither Superman nor Suicide Squad are like Guardians of the Galaxy. I guess you could argue Guardians of the Galaxy and Suicide Squad have more in common. But Superman's definitely different. God, these are so fucking dumb. This is so stupid. Why does this guy have 2 million followers? The fuck?
They all adhere to the same basic...
Critical Drinker fans, if I cut this into a video, you guys will get mad in the comments. So I want you to listen to me. Just listen to me. Why do you defend this dipshit? He is so clearly lying and full of shit. What in your lives is so fucking empty you need to come into my comment section and defend this garbage? Because this video is fucking garbage. Critical Drinker is a garbage content creator. Why? Please answer me in the comments. Prove you actually watch this video. Answer me in the comments. Why do you defend this garbage?
Formula. A bunch of flawed but likable misfits are forced to team up and have to work together to take down some big overarching threat.
Yes, sure. That's Suicide Squad and the 3 Guardians movies. Again, I already brought up Slither, Super, and Superman. Doesn't apply to any of those. Doesn't apply to Peacemaker either. I guess maybe you could argue he's got... Okay, maybe I'll give you Peacemaker. Still, you got Superman, you got Slither, you got Super. Definitely doesn't apply to those.
Eventually becoming a kind of dysfunctional family along the way, usually accompanied by a lot...
Oh god, bro. Yeah, you definitely haven't seen Super. Fuck.
lot of snarky, self-deprecating humor, incongruous pop music that underscores big action set pieces, and a troubled protagonist with a dark past.
I mean, there were needle drops in Superman, but they were very restrained. Like, the Mr. Terrific one was the big one I remember. I don't think there was much else as far as needle drops. There's probably 1 or 2 because it's James Gunn, but like, yeah, the needle drops were mainly very much a Guardians of the Galaxy thing because it was Peter's playlist from his mom. At least the first 2, and then the second one was Rocket's playlist, or the second one, third one was Rocket's playlist, which is the best one in my opinion. I love all the Guardians movies, but the third one was fantastic. But yeah, there's a point to those needle drops. I want to say there was some needle drops in Suicide Squad as well, but like, again, not as prevalent as Guardians.
Fine for what it is, I guess, but once you've seen it 5 or 6 times, well, it starts to get old real fast, and it really underscores how the guy's writing sensibilities peaked like 10 years ago and haven't moved on since.
Superman is not the same as Guardians of the Galaxy. God, I'm getting sick of repeating myself, but he just repeats the same stupid fucking points over and over again. Like, dude, just because the only fucking James Gunn movies you know are Guardians of the Galaxy doesn't mean it's the only things he's ever done.
More importantly, it's not a formula you can apply to every situation, and
good, because he hasn't used that same formula in every single movie. God damn, bro.
Superman was a perfect example of that.
You know, listen, I'm not saying James Gunn's fucking flawless, but like, if you're gonna fucking critique him, maybe do some fucking research on him. Have some actual critiques that are worth a damn. Because that's the thing, like, he's, so far, like, his critiques of the DCEU in this video are mostly kind of spot on, because that franchise was a fucking mess. But his critiques of James Gunn, really fucking far off. Like, the fuck, bro?
You could see how hard he was trying to bend the character into the classic James Gunn mold, but it just wasn't working because Superman was fundamentally incompatible with his style of writing, and no—
Really? Really? Because I would argue that is the most faithful version of Superman we've gotten on film. I mean, Christopher Reeves was pretty good. I don't know. I would say that's a pretty faithful interpretation of Superman as well. But fucking James Gunn is right in that vein as well with the David Cornsweet Superman. So no.
amount of shitty—
You know what? I actually, you know, I'll actually change it. I will actually say I think James Gunn, David Cornsweet Superman is better than Richard Donner and Christopher Reeve Superman, because that one actually had a Clark Kent that was like a human being, whereas Clark Kent in the Richard Donner, Christopher Reeve stuff is just an unnecessary doofus, which always drove me nuts in those movies. James Gunn has a Clark Kent that I believe is a real guy. So, best feature film version of Superman ever. I'm calling it.
Misplaced humor was gonna change that. The result is that DCU was starting to feel more like James Gunn's own personal vanity project.
We're one fucking movie in, bro. Come on. Jesus Christ.
Made by and for one person only, James Gunn.
Well, funny, because it was a success at the box office and a success in streaming. So, obviously, more people enjoyed it than James Gunn.
He keeps the projects alive that he personally cares about, consistently hires friends and family who matter.
Keeps the projects alive that he personally cares about? Like, what evidence do you have of that? Like, essentially, his policy has been he doesn't greenlight a script until it's ready. So the scripts we're getting are the stuff that he feels are ready. And fun fact, that's his fucking job. That's what he was fucking hired to do. You're literally shitty on him for doing his job. Jesus.
To him and runs projects that he's totally not suited to in the way he personally enjoys. Here's the thing though, James, when you're the head of a multi-billion-dollar film franchise, it's not really about what you want anymore, it's about the audience and what they want.
Yes, and the audience, we already looked at numbers, audience overwhelmingly liked the movie. So if your argument is that the audience disliked it, well, the numbers don't agree with you, bro.
And it seems like the gap between those two things is getting wider with each new release. Say what you want about Kevin Feige, but the guy's at least smart enough to know his own limitations as a creative and let other people take up the slack. Now there's even rumours that if Warner gets bought over...
Okay. It's Cosmic Book News. It's Matt McGloin. I recognize the name. I don't even have to look this up. It's garbage. Cosmic Book News is garbage. Again, we already found out that they already announced that if Paramount does buy Warner Brothers, they have no plan to move James Gunn. Probably because the movie was successful, and why shake the ship if it's being successful? If it's making you money, why change it? But Jesus, there was a point before this I wanted to cover as well. We have to rewind this a few bit. Oh, Kevin Feige. So Kevin Feige staying in his lane. Yes, because he's a producer. He's always been a fucking producer. I think he started out producing like the Spider-Man movies and like that old Ben Affleck Daredevil movie. He's a producer. He's not a writer or director. He's a producer. James Gunn went into this as a writer and director. Keep in mind, James Gunn is not the only person running the DCU at this point. It's also Peter Safran. Peter Safran is doing the Kevin Feige stuff. Essentially, he's doing the Kevin Feige stuff. James Gunn's kind of the creative director behind it. Just saying.
People take up the slack. Now there's even rumours that if Warner gets bought over by Paramount in a deal that's looking increasingly possible, Gunn and his entire DCU will be the first out the door. And honestly...
Yeah, and they've already announced that no, he's not out the door at all. So, and also, like, again, when you say reports like that, it's like, what's his contract? Because if he has a strong contract, he ain't fucking moving. Plus, if the movie's successful, he's not moving either. Like, because, why fire somebody if they're making you money? It's stupid.
I wouldn't blame them one bit, because not only has Gunn fumbled what should have been a slam dunk, but there's nothing...
Really? Critics like the movie. Fans like the movie. And it was a financial success. What else do you want, bro? What else do you want?
Nothing in the immediate future that can turn it around for him. I mean, what's the alternative here? Keep throwing good money after bad? Keep allowing James Gunn to churn out James Gunn projects made purely for James Gunn?
Again, do you really think Peacemaker is too similar to Superman? Because it's not. Like, you just putting clips of Peacemaker right next to clips of Superman right there really jarred to me that, like, those are not similar fucking projects. Other than that, they involve superheroes. That's about it.
Said before, you only get one chance to make a first...
Yeah, that's true. I'm pretty sure he also worked on the X-Men movie. He worked on a lot of the early Marvel stuff.
Impression, and something tells me this could be James Gunn's last. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
Something tells me Critical Drinker is dead fucking wrong. All the chuds did this, like, James Gunn's DC is failing. Like, are they all in a fucking Discord server and they decide, oh yeah, let's do a video about how James Gunn's DC is failing, and all did one? Because there's Thinking Critical doing one. I'm pretty sure Nerdrotic did one too. It's fucking stupid and it's insufferable and it's filled with fucking disinformation. I need to stop saying that these guys do misinformation, because it's not misinformation. It's literally disinformation. These guys know they're full of shit. People point out ad nauseum that they're full of shit, and they keep on pushing it like it's. And then the reason they're pushing it is for fucking easy clicks, because they're fucking grifters. They don't care about facts. They don't care about their fans. In fact, they think their fans are fucking stupid. That's right. Critical Drinker fans who are watching this video, Critical Drinker thinks you're a fucking mark. And you being in here defending him proves him right. Just saying.
Because I can live with it. I can live with it.